I got a new toy. We're stepping up our farm game. We're stepping up our fuel game. Just went and picked up a 500-gallon farm diesel tank, and I got a good deal. I think it's a good deal anyway. This is something I've been thinking about doing for a long time. Haven't really been using that much diesel, but lately I've been hiring out with the excavator digging ponds. I've been running through a lot of diesel, so it is time. Okay, so, there's really not a whole lot to the story. Just kind of cruising on Facebook Marketplace, and bingo, there it was. And it's been posted for a long time. My wife showed it to me, probably 2 months ago. And I was like, I don't know. I'm not really using that much diesel. And so we just kind of ignored it, but it didn't go away. And then I started using more diesel. And so kind of thought about it more and more. They dropped the price a little bit and we went for it. So it's a 500-gallon tank and stand. Comes with a couple big concrete pavers that they had the stand set up on just so it wouldn't sink in the mud as bad. And it's got all the fuel hose and filter and everything for it too. I've got it laid here in the back of the truck. So I went and looked at it yesterday. It's got the filter housing, the fuel hose is in good shape. It's not dry rotted. That was my biggest concern, was that I'd have to replace the hose or the filter housing. The tank is set up with the drain here on the bottom is where the hose and everything goes in on this end. There's another drain that's in the very, very bottom of the tank. That's like your auxiliary drain to really get every last bit. I've got ants on me. To get every last bit of diesel out of it if you have to for a service or something. You've got your fill cap up top. That's where your fuel company's going to come and actually fill it up. And then there's another port in the back here, and there's a vent that's going to go on there. So it's just a elbow, so rain doesn't get it. It's just a vent, so the tank doesn't sit there and flex because of the vapor. And as the temperature changes, sun hits it in the day. My barrels sit out here in the front yard. My 55-gallon drums, they sit out here and bong, bong. It's like twice a day, like a church bell. It warm up in the morning, they pop out, and then in the evening they shrink down a little bit and they'll pop back in. So anyway, it's almost like you can call it dinner time. That's the dinner bells when the barrels start popping, Anyway, we'll get it jerked off here in a second, but I was just gonna walk over here with you guys and tell you, maybe the rooster will tell you. But my plan right now is we're just gonna set it up right here beside the driveway. It's gotta be set up somewhere that the fuel company can come and deliver diesel to it, sort of an all-weather deal. So I've got to have it where they can back the truck up right here on rock, and they'll be able to roll out hose and climb right up on it. So really I'd like to put it exactly where these greenhouse fans are sitting, which I think we're probably going to end up throwing those away. We thought we were going to keep them, but they're just not in good shape. Right here behind them, the ground drops off a little bit. So I think what I'm going to do is hop on Rosie, throw a bucket or two of dirt in here, and I've been moving clay today anyway, so I'm going to throw a bucket or two of dirt in here, mash it down just enough to kind of spread out a little pad for it, and then we'll get it stood up on top of that stand. So let me get the dirt moved, and then we'll see how it looks as we get it set up. Well, the boys are here to fill it up. I hope Whiteners doesn't mind me giving them a free shout out here. But yeah, using Whiteners Fuel and Lubricants. They're local down here to the north side of Houston. I think they service Houston too, but they've got a depot just about 8 miles from here. That's where I used to go get my diesel, but they won't fill at their pumps at the station anymore. They do delivery only for some reason. I don't know why. But anyway, he's laying out the hose now. He went and checked the tank, made sure it was empty, make sure the whole oil's going to put in it, and we'll get it filling up. So my fuel delivery guy just left. He's rolling out. I think I got a total of, the meter said like 502 gallons. He just wrote it up as 500. So hey, got a couple freebies in there. But I was just gonna talk to you guys a little bit, explain a little bit more the logic about buying the bulk diesel like this. Obviously, number one is tax-free, because this is off-road, strictly off-road use, strictly You know, that's why it's tax-free, because the taxes that you pay when you fill up with fuel at the fuel pump, the taxes go to road maintenance. So if your machines don't use the road, now yeah, sure, they get hauled down the road, but they don't run on the road, not like a car or pickup. So it is strictly off-road use, but then it's tax-free. So that makes it much cheaper. In Texas right now, I believe it's 44 cents a gallon is the taxes on a gallon of fuel. Can you believe that? When you fill up, a gallon of diesel right now at the pump is around $2. 44 cents of that is taxes. Okay, anyway. So yeah, the big thing is it's cheaper, but there is a convenience factor to figure in also too. If you're using a lot of diesel like I am right now, I've been running around digging these little ponds. Now, in that case, I'm having to still fill my 55-gallon drums and put them in the back of the truck, but I would have to do that anyway if I went to the pump. Now, where I've been going to get my diesel at the pump, so that's with taxes, I was buying it for $1.74, but I was having to drive 30 minutes each way to go get it, and then it would take me forever to fill up because I was at a public pump. It would cut my card off at $100, and so I'd have to reset the pump a couple times, use different cards, do all these stupid games just to fill up with 150 gallons of diesel. And then, of course, yeah, I can only get 165, whatever, 3 55-gallon drums. So, in order to get that same, it's about a 3-hour round trip is what it would take per 150. And so to get that same 500 gallons, I would have to make 3 of those trips. 3 of those trips would be actually only 450. Yeah. Wow. So I'd have to make 4 trips technically to get 500 gallons. But just say 3 trips. So 3 trips, 3 hours round trip, that'd be at 9 hours that I would spend just running to get fuel. That's a whole day of working on the excavator running. 9-hour day on the excavator, I can make over $1,000 that I would earn. Or I spend 9 hours running and getting diesel. Okay, so there's a big issue there, big value that a lot of people don't realize. It's just purely the convenience of having it right here at the house. Not having to run to town and get it, not having to figure out, you know, hey, who's taking the kids and what are we gonna do? You know, somebody's got to do this and that and the other, and trying to schedule these trips around, well, let's go run over here, let's go do that too, you know, make it worth the drive. Now, shoot, the kids can be right here playing in the goat pen. Heck, the kids can stand right there beside me, I don't care. But I can come out here and I can fill my barrels at my convenience, and I can, you know, put them up in the back of the truck, fill them up. I don't have to unload full barrels when I get back home, because, you know, if I got 3 full barrels of diesel, I don't want to run around with those in the back of the truck. So I'd get home, I'd have to unload them, set them out. Then when I would need them on a job, I'd pick them up, set them back in the truck, you know. So there was extra time there too of just moving barrels around, extra risk. I dropped one day. Luckily it didn't rupture, but the chain slipped off of it, dropped it, scared the crap out of me. Got lucky, but you know, there's risk there too. So there's a lot more value in the convenience and the time savings. So the fact that I'm saving money on the diesel, hey, not paying the taxes, hey, that's great. You know, who would turn that down? But really, for me, the real value is in time. So to give you guys an example, on this fuel tank that I got, I paid $400 for that whole setup. That's a good deal. It's a used tank, sure, but it's got the filter already on it. It's got the hose, all that stuff you'd have to buy extra. That tank alone, to go buy that tank new, would absolutely, just for the tank, would be at least $500, I would think, maybe closer to $1,000. Okay. Plus this one already has all the other accessories that you have to have. So it's a good deal on what I paid for it. It needs a little coat of paint, but who cares? You know, it's a farm tank. It looks a little rusty, but it looks right. It looks like it belongs there, you know? You paint it bright, pretty white, it would look nice, but it almost seemed like it's out of place. Anyway, so there's, like I said, obviously there's cash savings in not having to pay the taxes. Just for easy math, 500 gallons, say I saved 40 cents a gallon, that's $200. So I fill this tank twice and I've gotten my money back just in the tax savings, okay? But at 2 fills, I've also saved myself 2 days worth of running and buying more expensive diesel. So even if you say the diesel was the same price, if I could go to a local pump, or if I could go to that same pump I'm going to for $1.74, say it's $1.66 there, okay? Say it's the same price, but still that'd be 18 hours effectively versus the 2 fills. So that's 2 days, that's $2,000 of revenue potentially that I would have lost just driving down the road. You know, now that's saying that those 2 hours were spent on the excavator, you know, making $100 an hour, $125 an hour. But even if you just say, just, you know, I talk about this in other videos, you know, you got to pay yourself what your time is worth for something. Me personally, I won't cut the neighbor's grass for any less than $30 an hour. That's just me. I know there's people out there that'll do it cheaper, but I've got other things to do. I've got, you know, you guys know that watch this channel. You know, I've got the sawmill, we've got the cabinet shop, we've got the bees, we've got the goats. We've got so many other, you know, high value, what I would say high value. You know, I'm not a millionaire by any means, but they're things that when I run that sawmill on custom cutting right now, I'm charging $50 an hour. If I'm cutting by the board foot, if I'm quick and I get a good, you know, a good project, $100 an hour. You know, working in the cabinet shop should absolutely be $20 to $30 an hour. Doing bee work, you know, $100, $125 an hour. Like that's how these things, you know, price out. And so like, if somebody's like, hey man, can you come help me build fence? I'll give you $10 an hour. And I'm like, no, dude, like I can't. I'd be a fool to do it. I am blessed, put it that way. I am very blessed to not be that desperate. Now, things get tight, things break down, you know, whatever. I'm not too proud to work for $10 an hour. But as long as I have the option to go make money elsewhere, I'd be a fool to do it. That's kind of off topic for the diesel tank, but I wanted to drive that point home. I tell people this all the time. Don't settle for, you know, crappy pay because you just feel like that's all you can get. Go out there and push harder, do better, get more. I mean, right now, you know, I'm driving the school bus. They pay me $16.25 an hour. You know, and that's not bad pay. For sure, for what I do, sit in the seat, drive for an hour, like that's nothing, you know, like I don't care. But then they say, oh, hey, do you want to work a couple extra hours here in the office? You know, we can give you some paperwork to do. I'm like, you know, no thank you. Like, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but no thank you. So anyway, back on the diesel tank. Yeah, fill it up 2 times. It'll pay for itself just in the purchase of the equipment, not counting the time and the convenience factors elsewhere. Now my risk, of course, is what if I don't use all this diesel? It's 500 gallons. Okay, right now when I'm working and I'm digging these ponds, running Rosie wide open 10 hours a day, 10 to 12 hours wide open is about 50 gallons of diesel that I use. So as long as I stay busy, as long as I keep moving on these jobs, I'll use it in a heartbeat. You know, and that's part of why I didn't do this years ago. That's why I've been doing the 55-gallon drums, because I never was using that much diesel. But here lately, you know, I've been pushing the excavator a little harder. I've been looking for more work, and so I am using more diesel. And, oh, there's one other huge convenience factor that I didn't mention. That little tractor. We'll close with the tractor. The tractor has this just stupid, poor design fill neck that is almost flat on the side of the tractor, and it's underneath of all my hydraulic lines for the front end loader. Filling that tractor sucks. It aggravates me every time I do it. If I try to just pour from a bucket with a nozzle, you can't hardly fit the bucket in there against it. So what I typically do is I go and I get my diesel pump, I hook it all up to a barrel, and I run in, you know, maybe 10 gallons of diesel. I spend more time setting up all the pump and hooking up all the battery cables and everything than I do actually pumping the diesel, and that just aggravates the crap out of me. So now, gravity fill, I'll just pull the tractor right up here beside the tanks, run it right in, no problem. So that's the story. Sticking to it. Got me some diesel. I'm really excited to have this. I'm really happy to have this. I wanted to kind of just share the logic with you guys in case, you know, if you've got an operation like this, yeah, if you got an operation like this, it's not a bad idea. It's a little scary. I mean, he just delivered 500 gallons of this, $830. That's like, oh my God, you know, that's a big chunk of change you just drop on fuel, and on the risk that fuel, it may go bad if I don't use it. But to go and spend all the time and buy that same diesel at the pump, over $1,000. So you're saving money, saving time, totally worth it.